Commissioners and Dr. Witherspoon, good evening. The administration recommends hiring James Edward Brown to the position of Director of Safety, Security, and Emergency Services. The administration so recommends.
You heard the recommendation of the administration. What's the pleasure of the board?
Move for approval. Second.
Moved by Commissioner Myers, second by Commissioner Devine. Question or discussion? Commissioner Lomanak.
Thank you, Chairman Bishop. Dr. Loewen, I've got some questions, partly because this is my first involvement with hiring a director, but also I think there's just some general information I think the public should probably know as well. Obviously, this is an important position today, probably more than ever. When was this job originally posted?
In December of 2019,
All right, and how many applicants applied for the job?
159.
And how many were interviewed?
I don't remember how many were interviewed.
When and was the posting of this job announcement ever pulled?
No,
So it was left open from 2019 until when?
it's still open now.
Okay. And when you interview folks, is there a particular panel? Is it the same folks that interview all the candidates?
For this position, it was.
And is there some sort of rating scale or something that the interviewers maintain?
They use a rating scale.
And is there a way for those notes and ratings to be provided to us, since we obviously aren't part of the interview process?
I don't know if that's something that should be provided to you, because it could create some issues.
What type of issues?
Well, you're getting into the operations of the school district when you get into hiring and reviewing interview notes.
Well, so is the person that you're recommending we hired, did he score the highest on these rating scales?
That's the person who is the best qualified person.
But did he?
Before you, yes, he scored the highest.
He did
On
score the
round.
highest.
Yes.
And is there a reason? I mean, I realize that you don't want us to get involved in the weeds too much in operations, but we're being asked to approve the hire of the Director of Security and Safety of the district, and the only thing we've been provided is a CV that he obviously prepared. That's it. So, I mean, you're just asking us to rubber stamp your request. I mean, we don't have any other information.
Well, you don't get any other information for anyone else that we hire as administrators. You don't get that much of information for when we hire teachers.
Well, do we have panel interviews with notes and rating scales for teachers?
Yes, they do have panel interviews for some of them, and some of them the principal interviews on their own.
Do you provide them rating scales that they turn in?
They have rating scales. They have to do interview notes also.
I think it'd be great for us to have those too when we're asked to hire teachers. I've never seen those. I certainly didn't have a rating scale when I interviewed teachers along with principals. But there is a little bit of a difference, right, between hiring teachers, especially when we have 83 vacancies, and hiring the Director of Security and Safety, where we've interviewed, you don't know how many people or can't remember, but we obviously interviewed more than just him, and there are notes, and yet all we've been provided, the CV. I will say that I knew more about the Hall of Fame inductees before they were inducted than I do about this proposed hire. And that's concerning.
Commissioner Lomanak, please allow Dr. Witherspoon to respond to some of your inquiries.
Yeah, thank you, Commissioner Chairman Bishop. This is the same process that is used at the administrative level that we've been exercising, and the districts exercise historically and traditionally, whether it's the safety and security position or any other administrative position. So we work that process, provide the recommendation to the board at this particular juncture, and again across, whether it's any position, safety and security, what have you, other positions as well.
Well, I guess we're being asked to be involved and vote. We're going to get emails if the person turns out to not be very good. And we're going to get blamed just as much as anybody else, and yet we don't have any information to really go on other than a CV. That is the definition of a rubber stamp. And I think while the board does not need to get involved and be present for the interviews and get involved in the day-to-day operations of the school, there's a big difference between that and us being provided a CV and that's it. We don't get CVs of any of the other candidates. We don't have any comparisons. I have no idea what this director's philosophy is about law enforcement in schools, the role of mental health counselors in security and safety of schools, any of that. And that's a little bit disconcerting because it really does place us in the position of literally being a rubber stamp. And I think the board is more than just that, even though we aren't the day-to-day administrators. So, I would actually move that we delay this vote so that we can be provided some more information about the other candidates, or at least more information about this candidate's beliefs about security and safety, and some of his answers to the interview. So I would move that we delay this vote until we can get that information.
I'll second.
Okay, it's been moved by Commissioner Lomanak to delay the vote, second by Commissioner King. Question or discussion about this motion? Commissioner Harris and Commissioner Devine.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. And I've got a few questions because it's interesting. Dr. Long, when we hire, I'm gonna call out some positions, EDs, Chief of Staff, Chief of Teaching and Learning, Research, Accountability. Do you give interview notes to the board? First of all, I don't want the notes, but do you give us the notes?
No, ma'am.
Okay. Did you provide the board with the resume of this candidate
Yes, ma'am.
that showed us, close to 20 years as a director of security in various school districts, very similar to ours? Did you not provide that for us?
Yes, ma'am. You have the resume.
Okay. I'm a yield right now, because the question that I have is the delaying of a vote to get notes. I don't want notes. You all are making a recommendation to the board because it is your responsibility to do all the trench work. I don't do the trench work. You come to me and you provide to me as a board member who you feel is the most capable, most experienced, most trained, maybe most suitable, I don't know, candidate for Richland 1. Is that what you provided for us today?
Yes, ma'am.
That's all I need. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Commissioner Devine.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I too been on this board for quite some time, hired many people. Let me be clear. I don't rubber stamp anything from this district, okay? Never have, never will. Now, if I have questions in committee, I will ask, or I will ask the superintendent questions. Our job tonight is to vote up or vote down the judgment of the administration. School Boarding 101, you learn that when you go to training. No disrespect to my colleague, Mr. Lomanak, but when you go and you get the training, you will understand that. So either we can vote it up or we vote it down. But there has to be some trust between the school board and the administration. We have to respect the judgment of the administration. Ms. Harris has said it clearly. We've voted on many other positions in this district. We never had notes. We've gotten the same information for 13 years that I've been on the board. We got a curriculum vitae, or we got a resume for that particular person. And we trust the judgment of our administration. Now, we have one employee, the superintendent. We have to hold him accountable to ensure that these persons do their jobs on a daily basis. And whatever criteria that the board sets, not individuals, but that the board sets to hold the superintendent accountable, that's what we must do. Every position that comes here is important to the school district. It's a value judgment. We've used this process time and time again. Nothing has changed over the 13 years that I've been here. And we must respect the judgment of the administration, who we then hold accountable to what happens within the school district. Again, we have to be careful not to undermine employee morale to say that one position is higher than the next position. And to leave this position vacant is definitely a mistrust, in my opinion, of this board. Let me reiterate again. I don't rubber stamp anything from this administration. With that, Mr. Chairman, I yield.
All right, Commissioner Devine, any other comments? Commissioner Clyburn?
So Commissioner Devine actually touched on what I was going to bring up about us having one employee who we evaluate, we take notes, and we review those notes and grade him, accordingly. And we vote to hire him or fire him. So the appropriateness of what's being suggested, I think, is highly inappropriate. But I have a question about process. And maybe this is a question for, some other people that have been here way longer than I have and been through way more training. But as far as board responsibility, neighboring districts across the state, districts in other states, I'm not aware of any process where we get in those kinds of weeds, or you cherry pick one position and say we want to review notes or review the grading scale for. Is that something that is proper or has been done in any other neighboring district? Or I would be more concerned with being sued. Some kind of legal jeopardy that we could put ourselves in by either showing some kind of favoritism or unfavoritism. I don't even know if that's a word, but I'm just saying, it could be highly inappropriate to do something like that, especially when it may be unprecedented to even do. So that would be my concern. Another concern of mine is if the seven of us start to delve into those kinds of issues, would we may possibly be looked at as, maybe we have someone that we want to be in that position, or because I don't know this person personally. I got to know, some things about him, in the last few weeks, but I don't know him personally. But can we be looked at as saying, oh, we want to, pick this particular position out because do we know someone that we would prefer to see in that position? So I'm totally highly against that, but just because of the perception. Thank you.
All right, Commissioner Clyburn, any other comments? You haven't spoken yet, right, Ms. King? Ms. King, then I want to say something.
There's only one director of safety, security, and emergency management. The current one has been in this position for a really, really long time. This position is a high visibility from the public. I totally agree with Mr. Lominac in saying that we need to know more about the candidates. We have very little, and this is not a person who was in a director position. He was an employee. I have concerns based on the resume that I've seen. It is totally fair to express concerns, and I also personally have concerns about the process. And so I don't think that asking for the rating scales is inappropriate at all. Those are public documents. They can be FOIA'd, okay? So it doesn't give somebody social security number or anything like that. We're a government agency, okay? So school board members should have access to just about anything they want. I mean, case law just proves it time and time again. I think it's unreasonable. It's not getting into the weeds. This is a really important position. And if somebody tells me, why did you vote yes or why did you vote no, I'll be able to say. There is very little information on this, and just to keep it open for another couple of weeks until we come back. I mean, it's been open since December of 2019. Come on, I mean, I would have thought that it would have been already filled. So anyway, those are my comments. Thank you.
Commissioner King, you're spot on with one particular objective evaluation of this process. I want to ask again. Dr. Long, this position has been open since when?
Since 2019.
All right, so 2019, 2020, we're in 2021. So are you telling everyone in here and the public that you all have been interviewing and searching for 3 calendar years?
It's actually been 2.
Excuse me?
2 years.
Okay, 2 years.
Yes.
So this wasn't a knee-jerk reaction, this overnight
No.
decision.
No, sir.
You all have pretty much interviewed a number of people who applied, which I see objectively you said 159 people applied.
Yes, sir.
I'm gonna pause right there. I think I got Commissioner Lomanak, and then I got Commissioner Harris.
Thank you, Chairman Devine. I do want to note one thing, because I think there was an incorrect statement made a minute ago. This individual has been a director for less than 2 years and has no prior director experience at any school district. And I do want to say, I do take the school board role seriously, and because I am new, I have been reading. And even before I go to the state mandated conference in February to learn about my role, I've been reading our policies, and here's one of them. It's on the Richland One website. The board has final authority within the law of the operation of the schools. No section of these policies and procedures may be construed to limit the statutory powers of the board to exercise its own judgment. I think we deserve more information about this individual. I think that includes other panelists' recommendations based on their ratings. I think that's consistent with the policies and our role. I realize that others may differ, and that's part of the process, as people keep saying. But I disagree that us getting a CV and voting yes or no is a very informed decision, and anything other than a rubber stamp. Thank you, Chairman.
All right, Commissioner Lomanak, Commissioner Harris.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I'll be brief. The hiring of personnel follows laws. Am I correct, Dr. Long?
Yes, ma'am.
A lot of those laws supersede the authority and power of the board. We have to follow state, federal laws, etc. And we also have to protect the process in which we hire, because we have to be careful when a candidate has been identified, how we proceed from that point, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
For their protection as well. That's the one thing I wanted to say. Mr. Chair, I'm going to ask at this time that you clarify the vote on whether or not we suspend the vote, and then I'm going to ask that you call for the vote.
The statement was, and the motion was a delay of the vote by Commissioner Lomanak, second by Commissioner King. It was a delay. That is the action on the table at this point. And now we need to, you have called for the vote?
Yes.
Okay, question. All those in favor?
Sorry, Mr. Chair, calling for a vote.
Yeah, sir, you have to be second, sorry, right? Okay, it's been called for the vote. Is there a second?
Second.
It's been seconded by Commissioner Vine. Yeah, it's correct, right? Parliamentary rules. So we need to vote on the call for the vote. All right? The motion to delay. Thank you all. Thank you for letting teamwork make the dream work. All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? Aye. Or nay?
I mean,
Let's clarify that vote one more time. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Mr. Bishop, excuse me,
Who's that?
she had it.
That was for the previous.
What's on the screen is for the original motion.
Yes. We had a, yes, we had the amended vote. So this one has to be
To delay.
delayed. To delay that Commissioner Lomanak motion. No. The initial main motion was to hire, according to the recommendation of administration. Lomanak
to delay.
gave a motion to delay. So you want to do electronically, what you're saying?
What I'm saying is the vote that Mr. Womack made.
It is his motion.
Vote for more information. He made the motion, it's being seconded.
Yes, ma'am.
You all vote.
Yes, ma'am.
You can do that.
Thank you so much.
We do the electronic.
All right. A yea is in support of the motion by Commissioner Lomanak. A nay is in opposition.
Okay, mine went right.
Call out by name, please. Who voted which way, and I need to vote that.
All right, let's clarify the vote. All those in favor?
Aye.
That is Robert Lomanak. That is Beatrice King. All those in opposition of delaying it? Say nay. I got Angela Clyburn. I got Cheryl Harris, Jamie Devine, Tamika Myers, Aaron Bishop. That is a 5-2 vote. Motion fails. Back to the original motion. We can do this electronically. Yes, ma'am. You're doing it electronically.
Mine disappeared on me.
If you all will vote by, call out your name,
All right?
and hand, I'll do it here. And then you can call out.
Thank you for your hard work and dedication, Ms. Wilson. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Let me clarify that vote. Tamika Myers, Jamie Devine, Cheryl Hinton Harris, Angela Clyburn, Aaron Bishop. All those opposed?
Nay.
Commissioner King, Beatrice King, Robert Lomanak. That is a 5-2 vote. The ayes have it. Thank you for the process. Okay, Dr. Long, we have 9.02, hiring of personnel.
The administration recommends hiring the teachers on the attached list for the 2021-2022 year. There are 4 teachers listed. And for the 2022-2023 year, there's 1 teacher. The administration so recommends.
You heard the recommendation of administration. What's the pleasure of the board?
Move for approval.
It's been moved by Commissioner Myers, second by Commissioner Harris. Question or discussion? Seeing none, hearing none, we'll now cast our vote.